This is the video Sierra Bravo, the beginning of the true Democracy Now campaign by AWE Leadership Training. Greetings. This is the Sierra Bravo video. I want to start by promoting a fantastic beer called Sierra Nevada. It's available all across the United States of America. It's fantastic. I started the day off by smoking a Marlboro cigarette and talking family values. And then I got a little hyper, talking about new forest and soft wood and marijuana, weed stuff. And then in both videos I said, I am King Alexander. You can see my crown is really impressive. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about, democracy. I'm King Alexander. Brass tacks it. You guys enslaved me. So even if I'm not King Alexander the Great, then I'm just King Alexander because I whooped your ass. Now, I looked into this whole being a king thing. Huge pain in the neck. Nobody really wins. Nobody really loses. Oh, I forgot. Why are you listening to me? Always good to start by why somebody is going to listen to you. I'm going to give you three things, three cues, if you will, three representations of my history on why you would listen to me. On there first of all, I am an actual black belt. This is the black belt that I received December 19th, 1993, after 2 years of very intensive training in Taekwondo, a Korean martial art by America's best karate master instructor George Chung. I was a 5th degree black belt and world champion in forms. I am now preparing for my 2nd degree black belt, which will be formalized, hopefully, by Korea presenting me with a new original black belt certificate, because I lost that, which is part of the public shame process that Korea, I think, would just find agreeable and might have ordered me to do. And that will happen when I fight 3 amateurs rounds for the Horde of Warcraft. I will be sponsored by Warcraft, the Horde, and I will be fighting for Horde currency within the Warcraft game alone, as it is an amateur fight. 2nd, Talladega Nights. I was told that the general in the U.S. Army that won the war against the evil Saddam Hussein, this was his favorite movie, so I studied it. I didn't memorize it, but I took it to heart. I hold it in here. This is who America is. Now, you're telling me that we lost the gigantic penis contest to the dark-skinned people. I understand. That means that we lost the space race. This is where we have to build from. True democracy now, where we will protect women's liberties as well as women's reproductive rights at a genuine and sincere level. But understand, everything that I say and I do, I have studied and I have prepared for. Just as Ricky Bobby had prepared for his moment of greatness of going fast, I have prepared. So when I am presenting something at this level, understand there is pages, and I mean pages, hundreds of pages of my own handwriting, my own materials that have developed me into this position. This is a football signed and presented to me by the high school football team that I coached at California High School. And funny story about Jack Ryan. If you ever ask, you might be able to find out. I don't know the truth about it. Now, why did I bring the football up? I was a football coach for them freshman 2012, for the freshman offensive and defensive line. I had 0 major injuries on that squad. I also coached 2 years at Woodside, offensive and defensive line in 2003 and 2004, and I did not have any major injuries to any of my players. Proud of that record. True democracy now. Let's go back to the beer. I'm gonna go get some Starbucks coffee after this and have my Starbucks cup of Wi-Fi. kick Che Guevara in the ass. Okay, that was a weak burp. So what I'm actually doing is creating a series of PhD assignments for world leaders. The first PhD assignment that I created was for the Crown of Switzerland. And my hope is that he will follow my Super Bowl extravaganza PhD with his own world leadership PhD Super Bowl extravaganza. And we will begin every year providing somebody the opportunity to sell out a Super Bowl crowd-sized stadium and receive peer review for engaging uniquely and creatively and thoroughly with their subject matter. The assignment that I have today to discuss is for Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, when you look on Wikipedia, it lists her as an academic. Now, what that means to me is that she has a university affiliation that in common language can only be referred to as an Indiana Jones relationship with her university. She receives expert healthcare and other things, including possibly covering up her true identity and name or date of birth because of the quality of healthcare that she's receiving while she awaits to receive a PhD assignment worthy of her capacity and ability. Now, on the internet, there have been some battles back and forth with her crowd and my crowd. I don't really get along well with Massachusetts. I can't help that. I have this beef where I see New Jersey, I see Philadelphia, I see Massachusetts, and something is not right about the triangle. I don't know what it is. Once I found out that Philadelphia was in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, I'm not sure, because I didn't remember that. I digress. Senator Elizabeth Warren. My name is Alexander William Erickson. My PhD peer review extravaganza is going to be presented at the Super Bowl. 8 years after that event, I would like to have you on the calendar to present your PhD dissertation in True Democracy Now. Democracy is one part of America. The other part of America is the battle between entrepreneurs and capitalists. And when you look at the intergalactic market as something that might exist, democracy is a product. We can sell it as part of a various number of intergalactic products that we could put together, just in case other intelligent life forms exist and they would like to know about the most awesome form of government ever, called democracy. So what we would have Senator Warren do is agree that Donald Trump is president, and we write out the Donald Trump presidency. Or we could time it other ways with deciding to elect a final president. To say, okay, Donald Trump can run, somebody else can run. We can decide who's going to run to be the final president of the United States of America. And simultaneously with installing that person, and they perform all of the shutdown operations, which are very complicated for a democracy of any size or scope, or any country, any nation, especially if we do it civilly with procedures and paperwork and bureaucracy. And bureaucracy is what creates jobs in modern worlds. Okay, so we got to embrace that. We got to embrace the bureaucracy. Okay, we go from the autocracy, that's me being a king, to the bureaucracy. We get enough bureaucracy, and we've got the democracy, and then we start getting the engine pumping for our economy. And then we talk, well, how do we keep everything under control? Then we talk about it being a federal operation, which means that yes, you are a democracy within this, but you are also part of something much larger. And we can continue expanding that into various governments. Autocracy, bureaucracy. What is the C? Cooperation? I like cooperation. We're going to go with cooperation. Autocracy, bureaucracy, cooperation, democracy, economy, federal government. History. institutions. Justice. So what we're talking about is setting up a baseline for 8 years where Senator Warren can study the absolute best documents that we have access to and surround herself with a limited number of unaffiliated people and create an actual peer-reviewable plan to institute democracy following the Super Bowl peer review. So we could have a plan to have her Super Bowl peer review in, pick a year, 2024. So the week in between the Super Bowl, or the week after the Super Bowl, we're never going to attack the week in between the Super Bowl. That always sucks. We'll attack the Super Bowl week after, okay? So February 14th, 2024, as an example. We would have her present her plan, having it been thoroughly vetted, and that's why I said 8 years, we could possibly do it in 4. So right, in 2020, we all decide, all right, she's going to take her place in the new White House, and she's going to spend 4 years crafting this plan, and then we'll spend 4 years moving this plan forward into the proper democracy so that we practice 4 more years of doing it correctly. However we come up with the plan, I'm not trying to dictate how we achieve democracy. That's not what I'm trying to do. Okay, make no mistake, I am king of the United States of America. That's because I live here. If I move out of the United States of America, I am no longer king of this country. And that's very bad for America. And America's in such a bad spot internationally, they can't afford to let me go. So I'm under deep, dark cover. Okay? So my goal is to be managing international corporations that are behemoths like international business machines at an engineering level, not the ground floor level where you see Meg Whitman. You would only see me appear for international business machines once every 7 or 8 years to understand what you're actually developing. And then the CEO, Ginny Rometty, I get names confused and I'm getting off on a tangent. Let me close this. I don't want to get outside of democracy. We need somebody in the United States of America to put the flag up and say, I'm going to look at what we have done wrong because we cannot come to an accord. We had President George W. Bush leading us on a course of celibacy until marriage, right? We're going to be celibate, there's another word for it, until we get married. That plan failed. And we are now in pornographic apartheid. And in order for America to rise up out of that and be strong, as opposed to being a very weak, very hungry, I mean food hungry, I mean protein hungry. In order for us to put good turkeys in every oven and good potatoes in every pot, we need true democracy now. We need to raise up somebody like Elizabeth Warren and say, go and study democracy and you tell us how we can implement it fairly because we have not done so. And from that, we will build a civil society built upon justice. Cooperation is civility, and that is what I'm looking for, is cooperation. Thank you.